Hello everyone, this is the part 2 of MCW Module 3, Solidification and Non-Ferrous Boundary Practices. This presentation contains cutting and cleaning of castings, the basic steps involved, and sand casting defects, causes, feature and remedies. Fettling or cleaning of castings. Fettling is the name given to cover all those operations which help giving the casting a good appearance after the same has been shaken out of the sand mold. It generally includes removal of pores from the casting, removal of adhering sand and oxide scales from the casting surface, which is also known as surface cleaning, removal of gates, risers, runners, etc. from the casting, removal of pins and other unwanted projections from the casting. Let's discuss one by one. First of all, removal of pores. It might be difficult to remove dry sand and hardened cores in the absence of suitable equipment. Hammering or vibrations imparted to the cores does loosen and break them up. Sand portions sticking inside the castings are removed by poking action using a metal rod. Cores from larger castings may be removed effectively by pneumatic wrapping or hydroblasting. Second one, cleaning of casting surfaces. The outside and inside surface of the castings are cleaned of adhering refractory or sand particles and oxides, and they look smooth and pleasing. The extent of surface cleaning required depends upon the metal or the alloy of the casting and size of the casting. Steel castings, because of their high melting and pouring temperatures and a consequent burning of sand in contact with the molten metal, require considerable more cleaning than those of iron and brass. Aluminum castings are virtually free from burned on sand. Since heavy castings suffer more than light castings from burning on sand, their cleaning is more difficult. Sand may be removed from the surface of the casting using hand method or mechanical equipment. Coming to the third point of removal of gates and risers. Numerous methods are available for removing feeding and gating system. The choice of a particular method depends upon the type of metal or alloy, the size of casting, the size of runners and gates. The few commonly used methods are chipping hammers, flogging, or it's also called as knocking off, shearing, sawing, abrasive wheel slitting, machining, and flame cutting. And finally, the last one, removal of pins and other unwanted projections from the casting. Castings are trimmed to remove pins, chaplets, wires, parting line, and stump of the feeder heads and ingates. All these unwanted projections are dressed flush with surface. The methods employed to remove unwanted projections from the castings are chipping, sawing, flame cutting, flame scarfing, grinding, abrasive belt machining, rotary tool cutting, trimming, sizing, etc. Coming to the casting defects. Casting process involves a number of variables, and a loss of control in any one of these variables can cause defects under certain circumstances. Some of the common casting defects are as shown: shrinkage defect, porosity defect, misrun, mold shift, cold shut, and hot tear. Let's discuss one by one. First one is the shrinkage defect. Shrinkage is nothing but a void on the surface of the casting resulting from contraction or shrinkage of the metal during solidification. As you can see in the figure shown in the slide 3.7, it creates a void. Although a riser is used to overcome the shrinkage effect, in some cases it fails to feed the molten metal efficiently to the casting as it solidifies. So how to overcome? Some of the remedies are: use large screw and riser to promote directional solidification. Location of the risers and gating are very important, so you have to choose the correct position, and gates to be cut as wide as possible so as to reduce the shrinkage effect. Moving on to the porosity defect, or it can also be called as blowholes or pinholes. Generally, the molten metal absorbs gases from the various sources such as fluxes, moisture in the sand, binders, additives, and normal atmospheric gases like oxygen and nitrogen. If these gases are not allowed to escape, they get entrapped in the mold cavity, forming small balloon-shaped voids or cavities leading to porosity defect in casting. Two types of gas-related defects occur in casting. They are blowhole and pinhole defects. Blowholes occur below the surface of the casting and are not visible to the outside surface. On the other hand, pinholes are small gas cavities, many in number, at or slightly below the surface of the casting. So, in order to avoid this particular defect of porosity, excessive ramming of the mold should be avoided. The mold should be provided with the proper vent holes, and avoid the use of excess carbonaceous or other organic metal in the sand or core binders, because these materials react with the molten metal, producing large amount of gases. Moving on to misrun. Misrun occurs when the mold cavity is not completely filled with the molten metal. In other words, it's a defect wherein a casting solidifies before the molten metal completely fills the cavity. That is, when the molten metal is poured into the cavity, before reaching every corner of the cavity, it starts solidification and it will leave a void at one of the corners of the cavity. So this is called as misrun. Some of the remedies by which this can be avoided is: the sand should be properly rammed. Molding sand or core sand should not be too coarse to promote metal penetration. The proper control of metal temperature, that is nothing but the fluidity of the molten metal, should be maintained suitably so that the molten metal can flow to every corner of the cavity. Next is mold shift. As you can see in the figure, it is nothing but the shift of the entire mold, or it is a step produced in the casting product along the parting line due to the sidewise relative displacement of the cope and the drag box. The remedies are proper alignment of the cope and drag box and proper handling of the assembled cope and drag during the operations. The next casting defect is cold shut. When two portions of the metal flow together, but lack of fusion due to premature freezing results in a defect called as cold shut. As you can see, the X marks on the figure 3.12, lack of fusion of two layers of molten metal, which creates or which gives rise to this type of defects. This is called as the cold shut. The remedies are placing gates and risers at proper locations so that the right temperature and fluidity is maintained at every point of the mold cavity, and the metal fluidity is an important factor here to reduce the cold shut. And lastly, the hot tears. A hot tear is an internal or external ragged discontinuity formed in the casting due to the pulling action of the metal just after it has been solidified. As you can see in the figure 3.13, there is a small cavity type of portion at the juncture or at the junction of two pieces. So that is called as hot tears. In order to avoid these hot tears, we should provide adequate fillets at sharp corners while designing the components. Proper metallurgical and pouring temperature has to be maintained, and placing of gates and risers at suitable locations is very important. I hope all of you have understood the contents of the presentation. If you have any queries, you can shoot a mail to hsrbcet@gmail.com. Thank you for your patience.